Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Volume up. All right, Thames
Hey,
County,
Can
ma'am.
they hear us, Judge? Mine's showing that their audio's not on.
Austin's working on it.
Okay, everybody should be able to be unmuted. I see a Cynthia Clark, one that just says iPhone, and somebody that's on an iPad. It looks like you're muted on your end.
Good morning.
All right, Ron, you're muted.
If you guys see something that says something like join by audio, if you will, please click on that.
Okay, we'll get started. And if we can't hear you when it's time, we'll figure that out. All right, so Thames County Probate Court come to order. Good morning, everyone. If you allow whoever's going to testify, if you'll raise your right hand, please. Go ahead, Melinda.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're giving in today's court is true and correct? So help you God.
Yes.
Okay, you can put your hand down. All right, first on the docket is number 23, the state of Robert Burns Sheriff. Good morning, Ms. Clapper. Okay, you're muted, Georgia.
Let me double check that we got her unmuted on our end.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Yes,
We can hear
ma'am.
you now. Yes, ma'am.
Great.
All right, and you may proceed. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Is your name Eleanor Jean Crump Sheriff?
Yes.
And were you the wife of Robert Burns Sheriff Jr.?
Yes.
And he died on February 28th of 2020 at the age of 82 in Chambers County. Is that
Yes.
right? And he had resided in Chambers County for most of, if not all of his life, some 80 years. He was married 2 times during his life.
Yes.
The first to Patsy Kilpatrick Sheriff.
Yes.
Were any children born to or adopted during that marriage?
No.
And then he was married to you,
Yes.
and you had 3 children,
Yes.
Samuel, Scott, Andrea, and Caroline.
Yes.
Were any other children born to or adopted during your marriage?
No.
And that your marriage never ended up to the date of his death. Is that
No.
correct?
No.
All right. Now, I'm showing you the last will and testament of Robert Burns Sheriff Jr. And you're familiar with his signature. You probably were present when he did this. Are you telling the court that the signature that's he actually put on every page and on the signature page in front of 2 witnesses and a notary is that of Bobby?
Yes.
And the will appoints you to be the independent executrix of his estate. And are you willing to assume those powers?
Yes.
And you have nothing that would prevent you from being named independent executrix of the estate?
No.
You also know that you're the beneficiary, that there is no state or charity named in the will as any type of beneficiary.
Yes.
And are you asking the court today to admit the will to probate and grant letters testament?
Yes.
There is a proof of death and other facts that we have filed. And essentially what I just asked you was information also in that proof of death. And is that true and correct?
Yes.
All right. That's all, Your Honor.
All right, everybody admit the will to probate and authorize letters of testamentary. He's a good guy. We really enjoyed him.
Didn't we all?
Thank you for sharing him
Absolutely.
with us. Thank
Hi,
you for
Ron.
sharing him with us for the 100 years he worked with the county. Seriously, we appreciate it. And anything we can do.
How did he-
No.
Does she need to take her oath now? Or she already did when she was sworn in?
She did when she was sworn in. Just have her sign it and let Cynthia or somebody
All
sign it.
right. We'll do that. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I'll send
Yes,
it to
ma'am.
you.
All right, Ms. Clapper, you have 3. You ready
I
for
do.
your next one? Number 38?
Which
State
one?
of Penn E. Foster.
I am. We'll give me 1 moment
want-
to bring them in.
You want me-
You want to go to another person and then I'll get the.
I'll go to-
fosters in here?
I'll go to another one. All right, let's go to number 43, the state of Benny Anella Dunn. Mr. Marsh, you may
Can you-
proceed.
Can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you.
Okay, Judge, my name is Ron Marsh. I'm a practicing lawyer in Baytown, Harris County, Texas for the last 46 years. I represent the applicant here, who is the daughter of Benny Anella Dunn, who died on July 13, 2019 in Baytown. She was in Swan Manor, Judge, but she had a fixed place of residence in Chambers County when she died. Filed a will, of which I have a copy, and I prepared this will for her back in 2018. And to my knowledge, this is her last will and testament. The one you have, Judge, I filed yesterday. It's the original, and I'm looking at a copy of it. And as far as I know, she never revoked this will. It's self-proven as a matter of law, signed by 2 witnesses and a notary out of my office. It was never revoked. As far as I know, Judge, no state governmental agency or charitable organization is named in the will as a devotee. After the date of the will, there were no children born or adopted by her. No marriage was ever dissolved after the making of the will. The will named Patty Dunn Lane, her daughter, to serve as the independent executrix to act independently. She's not disqualified from law from accepting letters testamentary. And we provided the court an order and my sworn testimony yesterday, Judge.
All right, everybody admits will of probate and authorized letters.
Thank you very good,
Thank you,
Judge.
Mr. Marsh.
I appreciate it, Judge.
Have a good day.
You too.
All right, Ms. Clapper, you ready?
Yes, sir. This is,
Let's go back to
Glenn E.
number
Foster.
38, Glenn Edward Foster. Yeah,
all
I
right,
know
can you
him
hear me?
for a long time. Yes, ma'am, I
Yeah.
can hear you.
All right, thank you. All right.
Morning,
Would you,
Glenn.
Morning, Jimmy.
do you want them to be sworn in, Judge?
Yeah, we haven't sworn him in yet. Yes, ma'am. Raise your right hand. Whoever's going to testify. Linda.
Okay, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're giving today is true and correct? So help you God.
I didn't.
All right, you may proceed. Where'd you go? Well, there you are. Eddie's in there too.
I'm
Yep.
here.
Morning, Eddie.
Everybody,
Morning.
next time I'm gonna have a big computer on the other side of this
That's
table.
all right. We'll make it work.
All right. Is your name Glenn Edward Foster Jr.?
Eddie.
Oh, Eddie.
I'm
All right.
Eddie Marshall Foster.
Eddie Marshall Foster. And Eddie, you and Glenn Edward Foster, your brother, have been appointed by your dad to serve as co-independent executors of his estate, correct?
Yes.
Now, your father was a resident of Chambers County, Texas for, you have to get us all in,
50 years.
before his death.
Yes.
And how many times was he married?
Once.
One time, that was to your mom.
Correct.
Now, your father died in what year?
2006.
All right. And the date was June 12th of 6.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, at the time of his death, we realize, and we're asking the court to admit this as a muniment of title, strictly to transfer a title to property, that your mom misunderstood that this will needed to be probated for title, but she thought he was only married one time. That was to her. All the children were of the marriage. There were no other children born to or adopted in any other marriage, and that there wasn't any reason to do that. Isn't that what you thought?
Correct.
It wasn't intentional. It was pure mistake.
Correct.
So you're asking, I'm going to show you this will. Are you familiar with your father's signature?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, looking at this will that has been provided to the court and filed with this application, is that your father's signature right there? Well, let's see. Let's
Gotta
go.
get to it. Yeah.
He did it over in Dick Dawson's office. And the signatures on the last page. Actually, there's 2 signatures. Page 6 is one in the presence of 2 witnesses.
Correct. That's his signature.
And that's the signature of the 2 witnesses, Irene May and Dick Dawson himself,
Correct.
in the presence of a notary public, Rebecca A. Lambert.
Correct.
And to your knowledge, was this will ever revoked by him during his lifetime?
No, no. No, it's not.
Now, the will does transfer all the property to your mother, Dinner Foster,
Correct.
and that is the reason that you are asking the court to admit this will to probate. Now, you also filed a proof of death and other facts, and that has been filed and is before the court, stating the four children and their names and their addresses, and the fact that your father was never married to any other person,
Correct.
and he never, your mom, at the time of his death, was the sole beneficiary of his estate.
That's correct.
And all of y'all have signed and we have filed waivers of service and appearance and agreement for this will to be admitted to will as probate by muniment of title. And that's what you're asking the court to do today.
Yes.
That's all. I will ask Mr.
Eddie.
Glenn now. If I asked you every one of those questions that I asked Eddie, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
All right. And there's no state, charity, or anybody named in this will as a beneficiary.
That's correct.
Correct. All right. That's all, Your Honor. On
All right, I hereby admit the will to probate and authorize letters. You gotta take care.
All right. We got one more to do.
We do. Now we have the mother.
Oh, we sure do. We got number 39.
Yes.
The state of dinner in Foster. You may proceed on it, ma'am.
Now, Eddie, you and Glenn also were appointed to be co-independent executors of your mom's estate, Dinner M. Foster.
Correct.
And your mom lived in Chambers County for how long before her death?
50 years.
50 years. And she died on March 4th of 2020
Yes, ma'am.
in Pearland Medical at the age of 89.
Correct.
All right, so 4 years has not elapsed since the admittance of this will to probate because you guys know the law.
Correct.
All right. Now, your mom, after your dad's death, did she marry anybody else?
No.
Did she have any other children or adopt any other children?
No.
Did she ever revoke this will?
No.
Was any, and you've read the will.
Right.
And I'm going to show you the will that is before the court today and ask you if you are familiar with your mother's signature.
Very familiar.
Seen it many times. Now, is that the signature of Dinner M. Foster, signed before Rebecca A. Lambert on February 13th of 1992?
That's the will. That's her signature.
And you've read the will.
Yes.
And
ma'am.
you know that there is no state or other charity or other federal person or entity that is a beneficiary in this estate.
That's correct.
And there's no reason that you and your brother cannot serve. There's no impediment, no criminal charges, no problems or conflict that would prohibit you from being able to be independent co-executors of your mom's estate.
Correct.
You're willing to do it.
Yes, ma'am.
Now you have two sisters,
Two sisters.
and everybody has signed a waiver of service and agreement and handle this estate.
That's correct.
Yes, so the family's in one accord. Yes,
Yes.
because he has to hear it.
Yes, we are. Yes.
And you're asking the court to admit this will to probate and to grant you letters testament.
Yes, that's correct. That's what we're requesting.
That's all, Judge.
Excuse me. Okay, I admit the will to probate and authorize letters. Sorry to hear about your mom, Glenn, Eddie. I didn't know she passed
Oh,
away.
I know.
Thank you, Judge.
And I
Sorry about
forgot
your
to-
dad.
I forgot to put Glenn on the hook too, Judge.
Oh, yeah.
Miss Glenn,
Glenn, you
Yes.
agree?
ask you all those questions, you would be the same.
That's correct. Yes.
Now we're done.
Thank you. You guys take care now.
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks, Judge. Have a good day.
She's
All
got
right.
two more, but
I know. You want to skip? All
You
right,
want them now?
let's go down to,
Yeah, let's skip and I'll bring them in.
okay. let's go down to number 44. State of William Richard Dixon. Good morning, Mr. Bill.
Good morning, Judge. Hey, how y'all doing?
Good. Hi, Ms. Dixon.
How many letters?
You may proceed, sir, when you're ready.
All right, thanks, Judge. Ms. Dixon, can you state your name for the court?
Nancy Elizabeth Dixon.
To William Richard Dixon, is that correct?
Yes.
How long were y'all married?
57 years, a few months.
Wow. And when he passed away, where did he pass away?
At our home,
And what's that address?
17118 Choctaw Street, Baytown.
Okay, that's Chambers County, right? Okay, and that was his permanent residence, correct?
Yes,
And yours also, right?
yes, 77.
And that was on March 15 of 2020.
Yes,
Like I said, that was at your home in Chambers County, right?
yes.
Now, Mr. Dixon executed a will on June 20th of 2017, right? As
Yes,
a matter of fact, I constructed that for y'all, right?
yes,
And you have it a copy of it in front of you because we've admitted to, we've submitted the original to the court. But if you flip through that, do you recognize that to be your husband's signature? And actually, you were there when this was done, right? Okay. And to your knowledge, he did not ever revoke that will.
no,
He did not ever get another will
no.
or nothing like that. Okay, so as far as you know, that's the one and only will that he has. Okay. Y'all didn't have any children born or adopted after the execution of the will, right? And y'all never divorced.
No,
In fact, y'all were the only marriage y'all had was between y'all, right? Governmental agency or charity is named in the will, is that correct?
no.
And you do have a necessity for this will to be probated, is that correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And now in the will, though, it names you as the independent executor. And is that what you're asking the court to do, to appoint you as the independent executor?
Yes,
And you're not disqualified for any reason for to be an executor in the will, right?
I know.
Okay. Now, this is the proof of death and other facts, which basically outlines what I just said. You signed that in front of Camilla, and she notarized it for you, right?
Right.
We submitted that to the court already. And the other thing we have is the oath of the executor, basically saying that you're going to carry out the wishes of the will like it's expressed in the will.
Right.
Okay. And you're going to sign that, and Camilla's going to stamp it. Okay. All right, Judge, that's all I got.
All right, everybody admit the will of probate and authorize the letters of testamentary.
Right. Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Take care.
ma'am. Have a good day.
All right, y'all too.
Hi, Ms. Clapper, are you there?
I am. Can you see us?
I can see your hand.
You see everything?
I can see you.
Can you see?
I can see you now. All right,
Well,
number
now can you
40,
see?
in the state of Carolyn B Bertrand.
All right, great.
Can you hear me?
Okay, state your name.
Yeah,
Oh, do you want
raise-
to swear 'em in? Do you
raise
want to
your right
swear
hand,
them
please.
in?
Yeah.
Oh, I have to. Hear us?
Can you?
I can hear
Yes,
you
I
well.
can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm
we're
that do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're giving in court today is true and correct? So help you God?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you may proceed, ma'am.
All right, is your name Friendship B Bledsoe?
Yes.
And are you and John Wesley Bertrand, both of you are here today?
Yes.
You're both appointed as co-independent executors of your mom, Carolyn D. Bertrand's estate.
Yes.
And your mother lived in Chambers County for how many years before her death?
Oh,
Okay,
yes, over 60.
all right. and she never moved out of Chambers County. So at the age of 78, she pretty well was here for 60 years before her death.
Yeah, she might have moved out
That's
for a
okay.
year or two, but yes.
Right, but it was longer than 6 months before her
Oh,
death,
absolutely.
correct?
Absolutely.
Ago that she went out of the wonderful county of Chambers and then came back home.
That's right.
All right. Now, your mom was married one time during her lifetime, correct?
Yes.
And that was to your father?
Yes.
What's his name?
Sidney P. Bertrand.
And we're going to be doing his estate next, correct?
Correct.
Your mother died on what date?
June 30, 2017.
All right. Now, was your mother ever married to anyone else?
No.
Did she have any children or adopt any children that were not children of the marriage?
No.
And in your proof of death and application, y'all have listed the 5 children born during Sidney and Carolyn B Bertrand's marriage, correct?
That's correct.
And that's you are 2 of them. And then there's Casey, Vincent, and Lane Paul.
Yes.
All right. Now, the will actually divides as beneficiaries all 5 children, correct?
Correct. That's
And all these children have signed waivers of service and agreements in essential for
Yes.
y'all to be the executors
yes, they have.
and ask the 2 aldermen to handle the estate.
That is correct.
And you have no impediment or any other problem that would prevent you from being able to be the executors of this estate.
No.
All right. And that will's in front of you. It's now in front of the court as well. The last will and testament of Carolyn D. Bertrand, which was signed May the 17th of 2004 in the office of Leroy McCall Jr., who is an attesting witness, along with a staff, Patricia Riviere, in front of the notary, Gerline McCall, longtime employee there. Now, to your knowledge, did your mom ever revoke this will?
No.
And you recognize this as her signature?
Absolutely.
You're familiar with it.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful lady that she was. Now, you're asking the court, you also have signed and filed in front of a notary. You did it and then I filed it. The proof of death and other facts that essentially states everything we just said. This court has jurisdiction that she did not revoke the will during her lifetime and that there is a necessity to admit the will to probate for administration of her estate for bills and transfer of land and things like that.
That's correct.
So are you asking the court to admit the will to probate and grant letters testamentary?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, John Wesley, if I were to ask you every one of the questions that I asked your sister, would they be the same?
Yes,
And are you also willing to cooperate, act with, do everything you
Yes.
can do as executor?
yes,
And you're asking Judge Silver to admit your mom's will to probate.
yes.
That's all.
Right, I hereby admit the will of probate, authorized letters
Is
of
there-
testamentary, but I do need to clarify one thing. Gerline wasn't an employee there, she was the boss.
Right, she was.
All right, so let's go to number 41, the state of Sydney, Paul Bertrand, and you may proceed, ma'am.
Okay. All right, Fran, you are still under oath. You go by Fran?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, you also have filed, along with John Wesley, an application to admit the will to probate of your dad, Sidney Paul Bertrand. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And your dad died, when did your dad die?
December 16, 2019.
So, and how long did he live prior to, in Chambers County, prior to,
He was a sophomore in high school when he moved to Chambers County from Louisiana.
a lot of years ago,
So that-
a lot more than 6 months before his death.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right. And he also is asking you and John Wesley to work together to probate his estate for the benefit of all you 5 children.
Yes,
And you're willing to do that?
absolutely.
No inhibitions that would prevent you from being able to do it.
It's just a lot of work.
I know, but you're willing to do it.
Absolutely.
Now, was this will ever revoked by your father before his death?
No,
And after your mom died, did your father ever marry anyone else?
no,
Adopt any kids?
no,
Have any kids?
no.
Other than the 5 that are listed in your proof of death and in the application. That's the only
That is
known heirs,
That is
and
correct.
those are the will. You know his signature. We're going to do the same thing we did for your mom's. Where is the will? Is that Sidney Paul Bertrand's signature?
Yeah, absolutely.
And now you recognize Leroy McCall Jr. and Patricia Revier in the presence of Gurleen McCall, the
That's
notary.
right.
Now, and he never revoked this will,
No.
tore it up or told you I'm not going to do that at any time prior to his death.
Never did.
And he was in his right mind at the time of his death, wasn't he? Absolutely. Okay, now, all of you children have signed waivers of service and appearance and agreement of everyone for you guys to be the executor,
That's correct.
co-independent executors. You're going to do everything together, keep all those kids in line,
Yeah.
and then divide your mom's estate and handle your dad's estate, this one and your mom's, in a manner that is fair and just. And you're willing to do that.
That's true.
This will also does not have a charity or government or any other entity as a beneficiary except you 5 kids.
That's correct.
All right, and you're asking the court to admit this will to probate and to grant your letters testamentary so you can do all of your parents' things that you have to do.
That is true.
Thank you, Judge. Oh, wait. John Wesley.
Yeah.
Not kidding you. If I ask you every question that I ask your sister friend, would your answer be the
Yes.
same? And you're still willing to do the same thing?
They're all the same.
All the same. All right, we are asking you, Judge, to admit the will to probate. There's no prohibition against it. Thank you.
So done. Okay. With that,
Thank you.
thank you. You
That's-
guys have a good
That's
day.
it. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Melinda.
You're welcome.
Are y'all done?
We're done.
Thank you, Judge. Have a
Thank you.
wonderful day.
Yeah.
And I have to figure out how to get out of here. Bye-bye.